6 now. It's getting hard to count after a while. I keep forgetting. I think it's 6 though.
Getting up there.
My name is Jordan Daly. With me, as always, we got Craig Smith and Mike Taylor. Say what's up, guys.
What up? What up? What up, world?
You know how it is. I'm gonna pass it off to Craig to introduce the guest.
Yes, on today's episode, we do have an 8-year NBA veteran. He was a first-round pick, the 27th pick of the first round in the 1999 draft. Also spent some time overseas and was dubbed the Thriller in Camilla because he's from Camilla, Georgia. Let's give it up for Jumaine Jones on his birthday.
I appreciate you guys for having me, man.
No problem. All right. Hold on. First question. All right. Serious question.
Out the gate.
Since it was 99, right? Did y'all have any feelings about Y2K like at that moment? Or was it just whatever to y'all? Like, did you think you was gonna have a season, or was that hype like crazy? You know what I'm
saying? I mean that, you know, that was the year right before the lockout. I mean, right after the lockout. So for me, you know, I was contemplating, you know, that was my second year at Georgia. So I could have stayed in school. So it was really on my thing, like, okay, are they gonna have a season or are they not gonna have a season? Am I coming out or am I staying in school? So for me, it was tough for me, and I was sitting around anxious, like, man, what's going on? So I know what decision I'm gonna be making, and take it like I had led the SEC in scoring. I'm like second in rebounding, and I'm like, yeah, this is my chance. And the lockout still, you know, we hadn't resolved anything. So I was in a place like, I don't know what I was going to do until, you know, I met with the coach that came in because they had fired the coach. So once they had him come in, and he told me I'd be pumping gas in 10 years if I left school. And it was a no-brainer from there. You know, I'm that person. You tell me something negative, then I always try to turn it into something positive. That was just the way I went about things. So after he hit me with that, it was no brainer about me coming out, whether it was a lockout or not.
So I'm out of here.
Right.
Because it's true though. This is the mentality of a basketball player. It's just like, oh, you say I can't do this? All right, you'll see.
Right. And the great thing about that, you know, when I played in LA, you know, he coached Lamar Odom at Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So he came to one of the games and asked me, did I remember him? And I looked at him and I shook his hand. I said, man, do I remember you? I said, man, really, I'm honored to just shake your hand because you're the reason why I'm wearing this Laker uniform.
A bar.
Every uniform, straight up. Hopping right into it. Let's talk about your upbringing, your household. How was it? You know what I'm saying? Growing up.
Man, you know, I'm a real big mental health advocate, man. So I'm really big on speaking on my childhood. That actually kind of, you know, brought me into, you know, a lot of depression and stuff that I went through, you know, once that basketball stopped bouncing for me. But my childhood was crazy, man. You know, grew up, a lot of people don't know that I'm from Cocoa, Florida originally. A lot of people don't know that. You know, and you know, my grandmother was a kingpin. All her kids sold drugs. You know, she had 16 kids. All of them sold drugs. My mom, you know, everybody in the family was selling drugs. So that's all I ever knew was drug selling. Like, and you know, watching my uncles cutting up dope. And, you know, that's what I grew up around. I worked in the convenience store where they sold drugs out of there. So it was only inevitable for me. I couldn't wait to graduate school. So that's something, you know, that I was going to be involved in until, you know, when I first started, you know, picked up a basketball at 11 years old, kind of changed my mind on even getting involved in any of that. Like, and that's pretty late for a basketball player. At 11 years old, I'm thinking like, well, shit, I done fell in love with this game. And that's where all my focus went into. Like everything I wanted to do at that point was around basketball, and I knew what I couldn't do if I wanted to be able to, you know, fulfill the dream that I had from the first day. Like, man, I'm going to the NBA. So you know, going through that process with the drug deals, and I was in an environment where we was like top 20 in the state in murder rates. You know what I mean? So it's drugs and killing. That's all all I grew up around. And then at 13 years old, I'm right in front of a murder scene. And that's that was something that stuck with me for a long time, seeing that at 13 years old. And that's what, my mom was like, okay, that's it. You've been seeing too much. You're seeing these drug deals all the time. Now you're witnessing a murder, you know what I mean? And they trying to get you to testify, around that time, like, you going to talk to the police, man, you may come up missing. So my mom made the decision to, like, you going to move with your aunt in this small country town called Camilla. You know what I mean? So that's what led my transition over there. Went to high school there between my 8th and 9th grade year. So I started high school in Camilla. So that's how I got the name, The Thriller from Camilla. Going through there probably was the best thing that ever happened to me, coming from 2 different environments, because my aunt was on like 40 acres of land. And, it's country, like country. You know what I mean? Like, you only drove out there unless you knew who was out there. You know what I'm saying? And we was hunting, had our own rifles, like we was really living country life. You know what I mean? So that was just something. It was a very family oriented town. You know what I mean? People cared about you. You know what I mean? When I was playing ball in Florida, man, none of my family or friends came to the games. You know what I mean? In this country town, like, it ain't nothing else to do but come to the games and all that. So I got a whole different environment. You know what I mean? Seeing all my family in town and coming in the stands. For me, that's what really helped my growth in basketball, because to look up in the stands and see my family, which I had never experienced before, all that did was motivated me to get better so they can keep coming. You know what I mean? Like, what can I do to get my family to keep coming to the games like this? And that's what really motivated me to put work in, night in, and, all night days. And I was putting in work just to be that elite player, just so my family can be proud of me and continue to come support me.
Yeah, it's like you really had like a real Fresh Prince vibe, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Definitely.
like he was a real Fresh Prince out here. Like, that's dope, because it's just the truth. Like, when you put yourself in, you get around different energy, like, it just boosts you, you know what I'm saying? And then your mentality of like, I want to push all my energy towards positivity of everything that I seen, all that hurt that I seen, I'm pushing. Yeah. Like, it's gonna happen the right way, just because you put in so much of that good energy out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely.
And for kids growing up through like similar situations like that, what advice would you kind of give them to like keep pushing forward?
Well, my major thing is that, don't let your situation be your destination. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the key things that I always say, because, just because I was in that situation, I always had a vision to see bigger. Even though basketball was a big part of that, it took me and seeing different things and bigger places that I could possibly be. That's one of the key things that I would give people. Don't let your situation be your destination. Dream big, man, and always try to keep that positive energy, no matter how much negative coming at you.
Okay. And then we'll move on to your college career. You got named SEC All-Freshman, 2-time All-SEC, SEC Rookie of the Year, and you were recently named SEC Legend. How did that all start? How did you come to select Georgia as your school, and what was that process like for you?
It's funny, man. I grew up without my father. It was always just my mom around. My father never came around. So my high school coach was pretty much like my father figure, you know what I mean? And, he looked like me. And, when it came for me choosing what school I went to, I was big on, playing for a Black coach. That was one of the things that I was big on, because I feel like, the coach could relate to me and kind of understood me, growing up without a father and being that father figure for me. And Tubby Smith was at the University of Georgia at the time. So, that's what made me choose University of Georgia, because Tubby was there. Funny thing is, he as soon as I signed, he left for Kentucky a week later. And won a national championship that year.
Cold-blooded. So why you ain't take me, man?
The game cold. Well, the thing was that, this the year before they changed the rule. So if I would have win, I would have had to sit out. and I wasn't doing that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. What when did you know you were good enough to go to the NBA?
Man, that was a scary thing, man, because I never knew how good I was. I think that's what really kept me working hard, because I never knew. You know, all I was doing, put my head down and putting in the work. You know what I mean? Like, I never knew. Like, people's like, man, that's what's scary about you. You only never knew how good you were. Until, like, it was my second year when I was getting so many calls from agents. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm decent. People talking about me being drafted. You know what I mean? Like, all I wanted to do was just put in the work and be one of the best players, you know, it is. But never did I think I was good enough to make the league until, like, my second year, just getting those phone calls.
So after you realize that you're good enough, you have your agent, right? Draft night comes along. Draft night is a very big night for a lot of NBA players, and you were a first round pick. So we kind of wanted to know, what was your draft night kind of like? Do you have any fun stories from that? Did you know you were going first round? Kind of walk us through that.
No, my draft night was crazy, man, because, you know, I was actually at the draft. You know, they only invite you to the draft unless they expect you to be a lottery pick. So in everybody's preseason draft, you know, I was going to be a lottery. So when I left school, that's what I was expecting. You know, I'm at the draft and all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, I only had worked out for the lottery team. So it was kind of crazy. You know, I was working out in Philadelphia and had an opportunity to have a conversation with Larry Brown. Me and him was sitting there talking for like an hour, and he was sitting there like, man, I really wish we had an opportunity to draft you, but we know you're going to be gone at that time. So, you know, going through the draft, and then I don't know if you guys remember, but in the 99 draft, Trajan Langdon went to Cleveland at number 12 or something like that. Nobody expected Trajan Langdon to be drafted until the second round. So that kind of like screwed the whole draft up. So now, like, Cleveland told me if they couldn't get Sean Marion at 9, they was picking me at 12. And they ended up picking Trajan Langdon. So that kind of screwed me from the beginning. And I was sitting in the green room like, oh shit, I hadn't worked out for any of these teams after the lottery pick. Like, what the fuck is going on? So the blessing in this was that I had that conversation with Larry Brown. And, you know, that's how I got to the 76ers, man, because I hadn't worked out for any of the teams. And if you know that any other teams that are, if you got any other teams, you know, that's looking at you and they was like, okay, why is this guy still around? They're looking at it as, they're looking at it as like, okay, what's wrong with this guy? Something has to be wrong with him. We're not messing. We're not going to touch him because somebody knows something that we don't know. Why is he still in the green room? Mm-hmm. And that's how it went. So, you know, luckily, you know, those conversations I had with Larry Brown had him interested in drafting me. So that's how I was able to get drafted at the 27th pick, because of the conversation I had with Larry Brown.
How was the rookie year in Philly, and what was your welcome to the league moment?
Man, I tell you what, man, it's funny because I just had this conversation before we got on the phone. I was telling them, like, I had led the SEC in scoring. You know what I mean? I'm thinking the 76ers draft me to help Allen Iverson score. You know what I mean? So my first day of practice, I'm doing what I do. I'm scoring. I'm getting buckets. You know what I mean? That's all I ever knew was getting buckets. So now Larry Brown, you know, blow the whistle and call me over there like, hey, look here, young fella. If you want to play for me, you got to find you something else to do, because we got a little guy on our team who's going to shoot 50 times a night. So for me, that was like devastating for me. Like, luckily, you know, I could do other stuff. I just was never asked to do other things. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm sitting there thinking like, well, shit. All I ever did was get buckets. Well, shit. And then, you know, luckily I had some good veterans on the team, you know, like the Dikembe, Aaron McKee, Eric Snow, some good vets. Like, look here, man, this is what you got to do for Larry if you want to get on the court. You know what I mean? Then you can be able to show your offense. And, you know, that was a tough, you know, for me, somebody being 19 years old to hear not to do something that you've been doing your whole life. You know what I mean? So that was tough for me. And I kind of got into that mode, because even when I left Larry, everything was in my head, like play the right way. That was, Larry Brown was big on. That was one of his key words: is play the game the right way. So that was locked in me. So even when I left Philly, you know what I mean, it's still like I couldn't get into that get bucket mode like I used to have, having 2 years off from not getting buckets like you normally do. Kind of had me locked into his systems and playing the right way and playing defense, making that extra pass and all that kind of stuff, man. So, that was tough for me, but I got through it, man. Luckily, I was being able to listen to a lot of things that my coach had for me to do in high school, because he used to always tell me, you got to learn to do this and this and this and that, because on the next level, you're not going to be able to do this. And I was like, man, I could dunk every time. That was my mentality. So luckily, I listened and locked in to what my coach had for me, where I can be able to still, do other things and have a pretty good year, 8 years in the league.
Yeah, I know I've talked about this with you in the past, and I want to say, like, you changed the way I viewed basketball. I remember the last time we talked, you talked about, how important like roles are and knowing your role. I remember you telling me this story specifically, and you were like, you can't have so many scorers on a team. You need someone to score, you need someone to pass, you need someone to play defense. So like now that's how I view like teams like winning, and I look at like team success and like the NBA now, and I was like, okay, who has that role? Who's doing what? So I just want to say, like, that's so interesting.
Absolutely. I tell kids now, when I speak to kids, I say, look here, man, it's only one ball on the basketball court. What are you doing when somebody else has it? You know what I mean? Like, you got to make yourself, how are you being valuable? You know what I mean? What if you don't be able to get those 10, 15, 20 shots up a game? What are you doing to help your team win? You know what I mean? So those are kind of things I try to get the youth to kind of look at. I was like, man, there's guys that get paid millions of dollars just to play defense, and you don't even want to do it.
Yeah.
Why? They looking for that.
For real.
Especially in how the game is going now, where it's like positionless basketball.
Right.
Like those roles, like knowing what your niche is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's key to the game.
Absolutely.
So early on, you also got to play with guys like AI, as you mentioned, Tony Kukoc. What was it like playing with, names like that, and kind of absorbing from vets like that?
Man, what's so funny, man? I was talking to Lou Will, a couple months ago, man, and I talked to him about, having the opportunity to play with Allen Iverson and Kobe. And he was like, yeah, man, but you got to think about it, man. You was playing with them in their prime. He said, I had to play with them when, things was pretty much over for them. And it registered to me like, dang, like I did play with these motherfuckers when they was like killers. You know what I mean? Like, I had the opportunity to play with cats when they was at a high level. You know what I'm saying? And be able to learn from them and see their work ethics and see the things that they put into the game, was amazing. So I was blessed the 8 years I played in the league to be able to play for the top organizations in basketball, with the Sixers organization, the Suns organization, the Lakers, Boston Celtics organization, and to be able to play for Hall of Fame coaches in Larry Brown, Rudy Tomjanovich, you know what I mean? And to play against, like, play with legends, you know what I mean? Dikembe Mutombo, you know what I'm saying? AI, Kobe, you know what I mean? To be able to play against, with those guys, Paul Pierce, and, it's been a lot of players, to get that opportunity to play with and against, man. So I have no complaints over here with my career and how it went.
Like, you play for some top organizations in the NBA. That's a little different when we talk about markets, like playing for the Lakers. That's different. Playing for Philly's different.
You got to play for the Celtics
Boston
too. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, that's different, dude. You put that jersey on, that's a little bit different, bro.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're way different.
Way different, bro.
Them lights shine a little bit brighter.
Yeah, a little bit bright, a little different. That food tastes a little bit better out there too.
Sun shine a little bit brighter. You
right.
Like, what was it like, being thrown in a starting lineup in the finals, and you got that task with guarding Kobe. What was that like versus the Lakers in the NBA Finals?
Man, you guys know, man. You guys hoop, man. That's what we work hard for. That's what everything that we put into the game. Those are the moments that we really live for. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think like if you're an athlete, you know what I mean. If that's not the moment that you're working hard for, then what are you working for? You know what I'm saying? Like for me, like even when George Lynch went down against I think Toronto Raptors, it was the series before we played Milwaukee. He went down, and that's when teams were looking at me like, all right, Jumaine, you're gonna be starting. And I'm looking at it like, shit, man, we ain't missing nothing.
Yeah.
We still rocking. Shit, let's ride. What y'all talking about? You know what I'm saying? So my mentality, all our mentalities, man, because I tell people all the time, like to even be somewhat successful in our field, man, you got to be somewhat arrogant. You know what I mean? You got to be somewhat arrogant and very, very confident in what you put in. You know what I mean? Like, why not? You putting in all this work, and how you not be confident in what you've been working on all these years? You put in all this work for what? Not to live for the moment that you in? Hell yeah, I've been waiting on this moment my whole life, man. I'm 19, 20, 21 years old at time, starting in the NBA Finals, man. I worked for this. I earned this. I'm supposed to have this opportunity. You know what I mean? So that was my whole thing. I was just more excited. Even when Larry Brown met with me, right before they traded Tony Kukoc to Atlanta, this was mid-season after my second year. Well, during my second year, they traded Tony Kukoc and Theo Ratliff for Dikembe mid-season my second year. And before that happened, Larry Brown called me into the office, and he was like, well, Jumaine, we're about to trade Tony Kukoc. That means you're going to be the first guy off the bench. We're going to start George. Are you ready for that? Is what he asked me. And I was like, I'm looking at him in his eyes like, man, am I ready? Man, I was like, Coach, man, I've been working bust my ass every single day just for this opportunity. Hell yeah, I'm ready. Pull the trigger on that. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. And it was funny to me that he even had asked me that much as I had been working. Like, you've been seeing me work, Coach. 2 hours in here before practice, 2 hours after practice. Man, I'm in here, man. What you mean, am I ready? You think I'm in here just doing this? Not to be ready. I'm in here to prepare to get ready for something.
So let's talk about going to Cleveland the next season. And you stayed there for 2 years. How was that experience?
Man, I hated Cleveland, man. I mean, it's a lot better. It's a lot better now, man. But, just on the simple fact that, the two different organizations, it was two different organizations. I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but Cleveland was owned by a blind man when I was playing there. You know what I mean? Gun, it used to be called the Gun Arena. Like, Gun was the only person that would let you know how much money he had. He had his own arena. You know how most people got, Staples Center, got other names. He had his own name, the Gun Arena. That was his name, but he was blind, man, and the organization's so screwed up. And I always say this, and people laugh, but I be serious. I was like, man, if this man can see half of the shit that's going on in this organization, man, shit, he'll be pissed off.
I fall for that.
you know what I'm saying? So the first initial, man, you coming from the NBA Finals, you know what I mean? I'm working out, you know what I'm saying? I'm working out hard as hell. The day after the finals, I'm working out. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, I'm about to get better next season, man. Like, shit about to be on next year. And, I'm working out, and then they tell me I'm traded to Cleveland. Like, Cleveland was like on the bottom of the totem pole. I just came from the finals, starting. You know what I mean? So just going to different organizations, that was hard for me to go, to go to Cleveland. It was cold as hell in Cleveland. I'm from Florida. You know what I mean? The organizations is different. They treating you poorly. You know what I mean? The city was trash. It wasn't nothing like Philly. You know what I mean? Like, everything about it was bad, man. And then, to have to be there, and then I was playing for John Lucas at the time. You know what I mean? Like, and he was a head coach, which I think he's a hell of an assistant. I didn't think he was ready for that head coach role. And, he was just learning off the fly. And it was a mess, man. We was young. Our team was young as hell, but I had to learn so much from Larry Brown and from the veterans that I was around, and knew so much about how to win. But then I'm surrounded by nothing but guys my age, but they don't know how to win nothing. You know what I mean? Like I done been around veterans for 2 years, so just going through that process, man, it was stressful, man. And then my second year really made it bad because now, we got the coach coming in telling us, oh yeah, we in a LeBron James race. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron was practicing with us, you know what I mean, while he was in high school. You know what I mean? My second year, and as soon as they see what he's doing against us, so now it's like they telling us no practices, just show up to the games. Y'all already know what us young players about to do, man. We finna go party like all day. We finna kick it, you know what I mean? And y'all know what the hell we about to do. We young as hell. So shit, we was actually chasing the most losses in a row in the league. I say, man, I ain't trying to be a part of that. I ain't trying to be a part of history that way. You know what I mean? So I'm like, shit, we got to do something. You know what I mean? So that was a tough process, man. And then at the end of the year, they offered me a 3-year, $9 million deal. And I turned that shit down and went to Boston for a 3-year, $5 million. That's how much I hated Cleveland. I said I had to get the hell out of here. And even though that Bron was coming, I'm like, shit, I knew Bron was gonna be good, but I didn't know he was gonna come in like he did, or I would have stayed. and kept that money.
So you was over there with Tricky in Cleveland too, huh? Tricky was there.
Yeah. Rick Dees was over there, man. We was out there kicking. I played him in Boston too. Man, Dees was in Cleveland and Boston. Yeah, that's my nigga.
Yeah, we had Ricky on the other episode. It was a good time. But you mentioned signing with Boston. What was that experience like? I know you only played, I think half the season. You played 42 games.
What was that man, that was a tough season for me, man, because I fought injuries most of the year. You know what I mean? I tore my hamstring and then fighting to get back and played a few games. Then I tore my other hamstring. And, that was a tough year, and finally got back for the playoffs. And then, I hadn't had no rhythm all year. So, I really didn't, get into rhythm over there in Boston. And then I ended up getting traded to the Lakers in that summertime. But it was cold as hell in Boston.
Boston cold, man.
That's a different kind of cold.
It's different.
Hey, so what was it like playing with Kobe, and like, what did you learn like the most from him?
Man, Kobe was like, it just let me know like how different he was and why he was good as he was. And like before I played with Kobe, man, Kobe's one of those guys that, I would start a fight with because I didn't like him. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't like Kobe at first. You know how a lot of people didn't like Kobe, but they didn't know why? Like I knew why I didn't like Kobe. Because I love Jordan so much, I ain't like the fact that he was trying to beat him. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my reason for not liking him. You know what I mean? And then to get the opportunities to ask him questions and stuff like, man, what do you think about people think you like Jordan? That was a question I wanted for myself, but I was just throwing it on other people. And he was like, man, why not? He's like, why not try to be like the greatest player that ever played the game? And now my shit going on like, damn, like, that shit's simple as hell. I ain't even ever think like, why not? Why wouldn't he want to be like the greatest player that ever played the game? Which made more sense about it, man. But to be able to get to play with Kobe, man, I realized a lot, and made me understand like you never know a person unless you really, got hands-on with him and be able to have those kind of conversations, because he was a lot different than I expected him to be. Like Kobe is a real nigga for real. You know what I mean? Like Kobe from Philly. You know what I mean? Like, and you get that, you get that vibe, from him, man, and having those conversations. And then his work ethic was just insane. Like the stuff that I used to watch him do. Like I told you guys, I used to come in 2 hours early, get my work in, man. Kobe was already in there drenched in sweat, waiting on me to come in so he can work on what his counter move was gonna be. You know what I mean? Like he drenched in, like, yeah, man, I knew you was coming in. How would you guard this? And I was like, I'll do this. And he was like, exactly what I thought. then I hit you with this. You know what I mean? Like he was a perfectionist like that, like with his craft. To be able to see somebody dedicate themselves that much into before practices and then during practice, the same Kobe that you seen in the game was the same Kobe you was gonna get at practice. And to see somebody dedicate themselves when he didn't have to, like most superstars, they didn't have to come in there and practice like we had to. You know what I'm saying? Like he come in there and I was like, Cole, like, man, why are you in here working? Like why are you in here going so hard? And it was funny as hell that the answer that he gave me, he was like, man, he said, man, I come in here and practice like I'm a play because I don't want you guys to even think that when y'all go into the game that y'all gonna have a chance to shoot the ball.
That's so sick.
That's
So deep.
God.
Man.
So I'm sitting up there like, hey, man, I ain't mad at you then, bro. At least I know what how many shots I'm gonna be getting at all times.
Yeah. Rest in peace to the late great.
Rest
Straight
in peace.
Yeah.
So you got to finish your career in Charlotte, and then you had about 16 games in Phoenix. Why did you leave the NBA at 27?
Yeah, man. That's an excellent question, man. The kids ask me that all the time, but nobody wants to leave the NBA. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people, man, that you know, you got to think about all the people that came in at my position. You know what I'm saying? You know, you think about Kevin Durant came in, LeBron James came in, Carmelo Anthony came in, like all these people at my position, and that's just 3 names. You know what I mean? So think about all the other guys at my position that was coming in the league. So, you know, from that, you know what I mean? Somebody got to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody got to go. And it's crazy that those 8 years came so fast. I never thought, you know, that I'd be looking to be going to play overseas after 8 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then even after my 8th year, it was more like people was like, hey, you know, like nobody even was trying to pick me up. Like they were like, oh, come in a training camp. Let's see what you can do. And I'm sitting up there like, man, I done played fucking 8 years in the league. What you know what I mean? Y'all want to see what I can do. You know what I mean? So for me, that was frustrating within itself to be able to, all right, thanks. I appreciate it. You know, that was frustrating within itself, man. To just to, you know, for me, I thought it was a slap in my face. You know what I mean? How I can play in the league at a high level for 8 years and y'all telling me to come in so they can see what I can do. Like I haven't been doing work in the league, you know?
Or like you a rookie or something, like you never proved yourself.
You know what I'm saying? So that was, you know, that was frustrating within itself. And then I went into a situation with the Nets. You know what I mean? Like, you know what, man? Cause my ego was crushed. You know, I went into shit like, man, fuck this shit. I ain't going to try out for no motherfucking team. You know what I mean? Like that's how my ego was. But then, you know, after I damn calmed down a little bit, I was like, man, you know what, man? Fuck this shit. I'm about to get in the best shape of my life, and I'm gonna go ahead and crush somebody camp. And I did just that. But you know, the team that I went to was New Jersey Nets, and normally they keep three men and keep 2 point guards. And the thing that happened crazily was that the thing that happened crazy with that was the backup point guard, the Jason Kidd, got injured. So now that's the spot that was gone. And I knew right then, like, okay, man, this NBA stuff coming to an end. So I called my agent and I say, look here, man, I'm not no rookie. I'm not gonna be sitting around here all the way to this camp over with so they can run me to death and act like I'm about to make the team. Like I already know how the NBA working right now. So after that, you know, I called him. I say, man, get me a job. He say, man, no, Jumaine, you don't want to wait around. I'm like, wait around for what? He was like, for somebody to get hurt. I said, hell no, man, I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm not about to sit around here and wait on somebody to get hurt. Like, what if nobody get hurt? You know what I mean? And I knew myself too, like, you know, being in the best shape of my life at that time, I'm ready. I got to go now. Because if I sit around, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go be tricking off and drinking and doing all that kind of crazy bullshit. I need to be going hooping right now while I'm focused on what I need to be doing. So from then, you know, we made phone calls, and that was my first trip going over to Italy, my first job.
So I've been fortunate enough to talk to a lot of pro athletes and a lot of different people. And whenever people ask me who has the most interesting story, I always say Jumaine Jones because of this aspect right here. You are a very big mental health advocate. You're very open with your story. And you continue today to go around and try to make light of mental health with specifically pro athletes, celebrities, people in the spotlight. We kind of want to know what was, your story with mental health throughout your career and what you continue to do today.
Well, the thing is, which most of us, we don't really know that we're having mental health issues until the basketball stopped bouncing, because that's when I realized, after ball stopped bouncing, man, a lot of stuff that I had going through with me, I was able to put that in the court. You know what I mean? All that pain and hurt and all of that shit that I had in me was put in the court. So now the basketball stopped. You know what I mean? So now I'm still here facing a lot of childhood shit that I had went through. You know what I mean? Like a lot of stuff that I didn't even know that was an issue for me. Like now I'm trying to find out answers on why I'm acting this way. You know what I mean? Like wondering why I'm so motherfucking cold to women. You know what I mean? Like I grew up where, most of my aunts dated married men. You know what I mean? So that led me to like being cold as hell to any female. Like it was hard for me to love them. You know what I mean? Like a whole lot of shit that I went to counseling to try to figure out answers on why I was the way I was and why I was doing this, and to be able to get those answers and figuring out a lot of things and why I was so angry about certain things, and why was I acting like this? Because I went into a 3-year depression, man. Because anybody that know me, I'm always upbeat, I'm laughing, I'm making jokes all the time, man. For me, I didn't want to bring my bad energy around nobody, man. I was sitting in the house for 3 years, man, just smoking and drinking every day, closed off to the world. You know what I mean? Because, it was a lot for me. Basketball is something I did every single day of my life. Now it's over with. Now I'm facing all my childhood shit that I never had answers to. You know what I mean? And trying to figure it out and scared to go ask for help, embarrassed to even talk to somebody. You know what I mean? So for that, to go through that process, man, and that's why I'm a big advocate of helping any athlete that's going through that transition, because I don't care how much money you have, how much success you had, or whatever's going on in your life, once that ball or whatever your craft is ends, that shit's gonna hit you. And it's gonna hit you hard. So it's really, me trying to prepare, about trying to transition before it's time for it to end. And I think the NBA has been doing a better job, but I mean, look at the cost that it's been, players like me already that, I had to go through that without the help. You know what I'm saying? So for me to be able to, be in a position to be able to be transparent about the things that I've went through, it's a lot of shit that I went through, man, that, that I could sit here and talk for days and hours about it, man. And I don't think nobody's been through anything, that I possibly haven't touched on a little bit. You know what I mean? So I'm very open and transparent to be able to have those conversations with everybody. I talk about it. And just me having those conversations with people, man, you'll be amazed at how many people return and feel more comfortable to talk to you about shit that they've been through just by me being open. So that's why, I'm very big on being an advocate, just to get people to understand that it's okay not being okay. And it's all right to be going to get help and trying to better yourself. Because a lot of us, man, don't understand that in the positions that we're in, a lot of people depending on us, and if we ain't right, there's a lot of fucking people that's around us not gonna be right. So with me knowing that, man, I always be there to try to help and empower anybody that's going through that transition.
Man, you just unpacked a lot. Like, no, for real. Like, we could start a whole nother episode on just some of the things that you just unpacked, because that transition, man, I don't think a lot of people understand. You know what I'm saying? What it's like to come in, like you gotta silence your ego. You gotta silence
All
your
that shit.
pride. You gotta silence that competitive nature that you got. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? You against the world when you in that mentality and you trying to shoot for that success. So coming down from that ego of being a pro athlete,
Yeah.
that's, you know what I'm saying?
All,
Like
all of that shit you name is a process, and that shit take time to die that shit down.
man,
It's like being a superhero and then retiring from being that superhero. Like, what, you don't really know what you're gonna do after that. You done been great and been great in the eyes of so many people for so long, and now you got to do something totally different, which is, it's like a culture shock.
yeah, for sure. You got to transfer that energy, and that's one of the biggest. That's one of the biggest.
Man, you know what the biggest thing that was for me, man, running into Van Baker, man, at this transitioning program. The biggest thing that he told me, man, he said, Jumaine, do you know what it took us to make the NBA? And I said, yeah. He said, man, that shit's still in us, man. We just got to find somewhere else to put that shit. Yep. And that was the biggest thing that motivated me. Was like, damn, that shit was so simple, but that shit was powerful. Like, that shit really got me on trying to find something that made me happy and made me feel like that superhero still.
Yep. Absolutely.
What is one thing that you wish people knew about pro athletes?
Yeah, all the shit that we go through. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the reasons why I like to, that's one of the things I do with the gala. You know, I try to get athletes opportunity to have their voices heard so people can understand. Like, man, look here, we human just like everybody else. And to hear people's story and the shit that they go through, man, money don't stop none of that shit. Shit, people don't understand. It's a whole different conversation, man, because it get lonely at the top, and people don't understand that part. Because now you got to be shielded off from motherfuckers. You got to, you know what I mean? You got vultures, a whole lot of different shits about life that they won't even have to face. You know what I mean? So I just want people to understand really what athletes go through and get a clearer understanding to be able to hear the voices from athletes so people can get it.
Yeah, people don't understand, man. That vulture thing is real, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody come from the woodwork.
I mean,
and sometimes you don't have all the answers. Like, we ain't go to school for this. We ain't learned this.
Hell no.
Like, what?
Especially, you know what I'm saying? Especially coming from the backgrounds and the culture that we come from. It's just like, man, it's so many elephants that's not true that we build this stigma in our mind, like, especially being Black men. You know what I'm saying? I think it ain't manly to be vulnerable in these spaces, or be vulnerable to women, or be vulnerable just to the multiple, you know what I'm saying, situations, you know what I'm saying, that we go through. So, bro, like,
yeah, man. I mean that's what they teach us, man. They teach us that's how they created us to be like that. We can't be, y'all know how it is, man. They teach us that we can't speak passionately. We shouldn't be hugging. We shouldn't be doing it. Man, fuck that shit. I cry in front of a nigga in a minute and kick your ass if you got a problem with
it. Real talk, man. Real talk. Oh man. So Jumaine, what was your experience like playing overseas? I know we ran into each other in Israel. You know what I'm saying? Where I always remember what you told me of, like, if you want to, have a great career overseas, these is the numbers they looking for. I don't know if you remember that. We stopped and had a real conversation, you know what I'm saying? And I appreciated that, because I didn't know what to expect going out there. Like, this is totally new for me. And to have you as a veteran and to come over and give me those words, you know what I'm saying? I was really thankful in that situation, and it just helped me through the season.
Yeah, man, it's different over there, man. It's totally 100% different. It's funny. Somebody was just asking me that, like, man, how was it overseas? I was like, man, I say, man, first of all, to come from the NBA, the one thing that was most important is to go over there with an attitude, to go over there with the mentality is like basketball is basketball. But if you go over there like, hey man, I just came from the NBA, I'm bigger than this shit over here, you about to fail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you about to fail, you're not about to do well because this game over here different. It's different, and you got to be able to win. You know what I mean? You got to be able to win over there. And that was one of the key things too. I learned real fast that, you know what, man, I'm about to hype these bums over here that's on my team. I'm gonna make them feel like they Jordan. You know what I mean? Like that was my thing, because I need them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, how am I gonna win? I need them. You know what I mean? And as we all know, we all played over there. I already know late game, they gonna bring me the ball anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like late in the game, them motherfuckers throwing that motherfucker, they don't want to be playing for nothing. I was like, damn right. Motherfucker, bring that motherfucker over here and let me close this motherfucker out. So, you know, I enjoyed that process. Like, I enjoyed playing overseas more than I did in the NBA, to be honest, man, because I like that experience. You know what I mean? And me just kind of being a GM, like as soon as they get me, they be like, man, what you need? I say, man, give me 2 scores and some shoots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, look here, we gonna compete for something. You know what I mean? I won 3 chips over there. So, you know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed that process of empowering other people, you know what I mean? And getting people, you know, motivated and kind of like coaching at the same time. Like running the offense, running the practices and all that kind of stuff. Because that 8-year badge, I use that to the fullest over there. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not coming in here early in the morning, but these young guys need to be in here. Get them in here to working. You know what I mean? Like, it was like I was running the team. You know what I mean? But I wasn't overbearing, because I wouldn't ask you, like, I'm not asking you to do something that I wouldn't even do myself. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm out here just telling motherfuckers what to do. Nah, motherfucker, I'm in here working too. I'm in here doing all of this shit. I'm leading by example, and then I'm sharing my experiences with you. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, hey, this is what you need to do. Hey, bro, score that shit every time. Fuck coach. You know what I'm saying? Go get buckets. Nigga, that's what I need you to do. That's how we gonna win. You got to be aggressive as hell. Don't worry about me. I'm gonna get mine. My stat sheet gonna be 16, 12, and 6 at the end of the night. You know what I'm saying? No matter what's going on. So get your shit, bro. I need them 20 from you, and I need them 20 from you. And I need you jumping down a couple times when they double. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I was keeping it. And motherfuckers like, damn, man. Like, man, ain't never played nobody like you. Like, you know how, motherfucker, I know how to win. And that's what they want. They don't give a fuck about none of that other shit. You can have 40, and with an L, nigga, that's your fault. And I like that, because
you get shit back to the crib with the 40.
and that's what I'm saying. And I love that, and I love that pressure too, because, you know, with all that pressure, when you lose, motherfucker, I'm okay with getting all the praise when we win. And that's what I play for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So another thing that's not really known by a lot of people is that you are in the Hall of Fame. Do you kind of want to tell people how that happened, and like, what was your reaction to that happening?
Man, you know, it's funny all the time, because I put NBA Hall of Fame on most of my stuff, and I even get my friends hit me like, bro, why you keep hitting me? Why you keep talking about you a Hall of Famer, man? I was like, bro, then I send them the article, you know, how I made the Hall of Fame. And they was like, oh, I say, it's some bullshit how I got there, but motherfucker, I'm in there. They say, man, nah, that ain't no bullshit. No, but it was funny, man. It was in 1999. It was my rookie year, actually. And we was on the road in Portland. And we was getting blown, we was getting smacked. You know, my rookie year, Larry Brown ain't really believe in playing rookies that much. So we was getting smacked. So, coach, you know, Larry put us out there, man. You know, shit, as soon as he put me in the game, you know, I'm trying to get buckets while I'm out there. So I'm out there, I'm getting buckets or whatever. And then, shit, I never knew, like it was the end of the year, it was the last game in 1999. So it's crazy. I just throw up a motherfucking shot from down there half court. That shit banked in. And I was sitting up there like, all right, well, shit. So now I'm thinking like I ain't even thinking shit. I get in the locker room, the equipment manager come up to me like, yeah, Jumaine, I need your uniform, your shoes, and this and that. And I'm like, shit. Like, I thought the motherfuckers had cut me. I'm like, damn, I ain't play that motherfucking bad, did I? And the motherfucker, he was like, nah, man, you just hit the last shot of the millennium, man. They taking your jersey to the Hall of Fame. You just made it. Congratulations. And I was sitting there like, what? I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He said, man, no shit, man. They just reported. They told me that to come get your stuff and they going to put it in the Hall of Fame. I was like, damn. Like, for real, for real?
That's hard. That was hard, dog.
So I've been excited ever since then. And then, you know, doing business and doing stuff now, you know, people's like, bro, more people need to know about you in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I've just been using it, you know, as my platform. You know what I mean? NBA Hall of Fame. I like that shit sound better.
Shit, nice.
Not too many can have that asterisk behind their name, bro. So,
and then people laugh about it. And I'm like, look here, bro, my kids gonna be dead before somebody can do this again.
Yeah,
yeah, for real.
It might not even happen again.
For real.
Straight up. Okay, so I know you had mentioned it last year that you was considering about playing in the Big Three. You've been getting yourself in shape. What is it looking like this year, man?
Man, I don't know, man. I've been having so much good stuff going on with me right now, man. I don't know, man. I doubt I got time for that right now, man. I just the city just bought me in Pennsylvania, just bought me this 20,000 square foot building, man, that's here that I'm about to make a community center. You know, I'm out here, you know, I talked to them about the mental health stuff that I'm trying to do with these kids to try to give them a face and all that kind of stuff. So they just handed me the building. And I got somebody coming in on the 15th to come in that want to reconstruct everything for me for free. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm working on, you know, I'm having this tournament out in South Africa, August 2nd through the 9th. It's going to be on ESPN Africa. I got four HBCUs that's going to be coming out, and I'm doing the mental health piece. I'm bringing that in and also doing the entrepreneurship with the kids. I'm bringing out Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes because they're supposed to be doing all the smoke Africa. Yeah. I'm trying to get Chris Webber and Jalen Rose to try to call the game. Larry Hughes going to be coming out there. I got like 10 other NBA players that's going to be coming out there to support it because I really want to get you know, our culture, you know what I mean, to try to get them to understand and put together a business expo, you know what I mean, where we get all the people that's in power in Africa and the athletes and other people that want to be involved in it and make an expo out of it. And Al Harrington's supposed to be the lead of it to be able to kind of orchestrate everybody getting in business to try to see how we can help one another and see what we can bring together to try to make things better. Because I speak to, you know, our culture a lot. Like, man, you think about, you know, we get upset about, you know, this culture over here doing this and this culture over there doing that, and they sticking together. Like, man, you know what can happen if we do that? So I just want to give them a vision of us doing that and trying to bring something to our community where people can understand what we trying to do and how powerful we are. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to do it in South Africa, because they see that stuff on TV, man. Nah, y'all need to understand how powerful this country is. Yeah. You know what I mean? Y'all need to see firsthand, you know, about how our culture is. So that's one of the things that I'm, you know, working around now, man. I got my hands in a lot of stuff right now. So I doubt that, you know, I'll be able to do that big three.
That's major. That's what you pushing, man.
It's bigger. It's bigger.
Bigger than basketball.
That's bigger than basketball right there.
Trying to bridge the gap, man. Trying to bridge the gap.
No, you doing. You ain't trying. You doing. Yeah. You doing, big bro. You doing it.
And I'm gonna need to, you know what I'm saying, after this, I'm gonna be on your line too. You know what I'm saying? Trying to, you know what I'm saying, take a duplicate what you doing, man.
And the crazy thing is, you know, the guy, he asked me how much did I need to try to reconstruct this building. I gave him the plan, and he started laughing at the $3 million I was looking at. He said, man, look, he said, the only reason I'm gonna work with you, man, if you want to do a building like this in multiple places and around the country. I was like, well, if you're gonna do that for me, let's do business.
yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get on your line. You hear me? That's exactly, you know what I'm saying, the motion, you know what I'm saying, that I'm on. You know what I'm saying? Especially in my area where I'm from. And it's like that in every state, every city.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's poverty there. And
Absolutely.
we don't speak on that mental health aspect as much. It's not
right.
You know what I'm saying? That's a big elephant in our culture.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is.
Just that component, just everything that we normalize to be normal, that shit ain't normal.
Hell no. Hell no, that shit ain't normal, man. It took me a long time to realize that shit wasn't normal. Like, man, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and it's crazy that it takes us so long, and that's why I'm so big on reaching these kids earlier, because it shouldn't take till we're adults to be able to try to fix things. You know what I mean? Let's have these conversations earlier so that we can get the help that we need earlier and be able to have, you know what I mean? Because look, man, look how many people that we've lost. Man, do you know the suicide rate for these kids are up higher than it's ever been? These kids knocking themselves out. Like, man, when we was coming up, man, we ain't had no worries
At all.
You know what I mean? Like, we just went to school. We ain't had to worry about nothing.
Yeah.
That was it. So now, man, these kids now, they stressing out over everything now. So, man, these conversations need to be had. A lot of stuff need to be able to have these kids feeling open enough to talk about whatever it is, man. A lot of these kids just need a hug. Come here. Let me give you a hug. Let me know, like, bro, I care about you. Like, someone just need to know that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? So, that's why I'm big on it, man, because a lot of shit that I came up throughout my childhood that I realized as an adult, why I got to wait to try to figure out shit then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, shit, we done lost too many people that's already felt the way and pulled the trigger on themselves. How we prevent that? Let's get to these kids earlier. Let's make them feel comfortable to have conversations now. You know what I mean? And not only that, and the thing that the people gave me the building is because I told them, I said, man, yeah, we can fix the kids, but then they're going home where the homes are broken. So one thing, the elements that I want to bring in is that we do it with the kids, and we have something, for the adults to be able to get jobs and do shit where, they can learn shit and have a job, you know what I mean, where they can provide. You know what I mean? So let's do both of those things. Let's fix the kids and let's try to get the home in order. You know what I mean? Cause I think a lot of these parents are open to things. They just don't know how to ask for help or how to get it. You know what I mean? So if you bring it to them, I'm big on meeting people where they are. Let's go meet them people and try to get them some help. You know what I mean? So that this kid can be better off. You know what I mean? And I'm about that.
Yeah, the lack of resources. That's something that's, you know what I'm saying, big in our community. We just don't know. You know what
Absolutely.
I'm saying? We just really don't know as a group, as a collective.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We really don't know where the resources are at. And
right.
I mean, you speaking about something that's globally something that could be literally dropped in the hood.
And that's the goal, bro. I'm in. Like, I just linked up with some people in India. You know what I'm saying? I'm man, it's been like 4 different countries already. You know what I mean? This is something I'm trying to be doing internationally, everywhere. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make something. I'm trying to be bigger than just hoop.
Nah, you doing it. I mean, you doing it. You know what I'm saying? You putting down the blocks right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's definitely there. I mean, the passion that you got just speaking about it. You know what I'm saying? It's transparent, like you say. It's transparent. So, nah, bro. I believe in the mission, straight up. So we got this part of the episode to where we go into like these segments. And we kind of, each one of us got our own segment. We kind of break it down. So we about to jump into that right now.
All right. First off, we got the Give a Dog a Bone segment. It's basically rapid fire questions just for fun. We're the Underdogs podcast. First thing we want to know is, what is your favorite dog breed?
Poodle.
I'm surprised by that one. I didn't picture you as a poodle guy. Okay. All right. Favorite musical artist?
Hold on. Why the poodle? Why?
Man, hey, bro, my first dog was a poodle, man. My first dog that I had was a poodle, and my mom gave him to me, and he ended up getting hit by a car, man. And then, I ended up getting another poodle, and something happened to him. But I always liked poodles, man. I'm just big like this, man. But I'm, y'all know how it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead, George. My bad for messing up your segment.
Oh, good. Man. That was a good question. We'll have to get you like a sweatshirt with like a poodle on it, like just poodle face. Favorite musical artist?
Oh man, Jesus.
Favorite shoe?
Cole, huh?
Favorite city to play in, NBA or overseas?
Phoenix.
Who is your GOAT?
Jordan.
Favorite hobby?
Ping pong.
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you next time we're in person. I want that smoke.
Yep. You don't want none of this smoke, I promise.
All right, so you're from Georgia. What's the best barbecue joint in Georgia?
I don't even think they open no more. JJ's Rib Shack.
Okay. Hardest player to guard?
Ginobili.
Best defender versus you?
No one.
I love the confidence. I love it.
Got too.
Least favorite city or stadium to play in?
Ooh. I would probably say Utah.
Okay. Favorite game you remember playing in?
NBA Finals.
Favorite movie?
Friday.
Who is your MVP of this season?
Joel Embiid.
I sense some bias going on. Nah, to be fair, I told these guys last night that was who I was picking right now too. So we're on the same page.
Giannis.
Favorite current player?
Oh, man, I had to go with Joel.
Okay. And then your favorite all-time player?
Jordan.
Jordan. All right, that's it. I'm gonna pass it off to Mike for the microwave or oven.
Yeah. So I got this little segment to where I do the microwave or the oven. It kind of, you know what I'm saying, originated from just watching the younger generation, like they into like all the highlights. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what they minds is kind of like geared toward, you know what I'm saying? It's instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? You
Right.
be one of those guys that like embody what we talk about as being an underdog. You understand that nothing comes instantly. It's that process to where you gotta slow cook it. You gotta put that thing in the oven, let it marinate a little bit. You know what I'm saying, and get what you can get up out of it.
Right.
Okay, so I got a few verses for you. Kobe's mentality or AI's handle?
Kobe's mentality.
Giannis' size or Embiid's versatility?
Embiid's versatility.
I knew you was gonna go with Embiid. Ricky Davis dunks or Dikembe Mutombo's blocks?
I'm gonna have to go with the Dikembe dunks. I mean blocks.
Yeah. Okay, here go one. Here go one for you. The Hawks or the Sixers?
The Sixers.
All right, for sure. Appreciate you, bro. That wrap up my little segment.
All right, Jumaine. So my segment is called Overpaid or Underrated. And in this scenario, you have two options to pick on an overpaid career or underrated career. Now, here we go. Would you rather have had a 12-year NBA career with the same role? Or would you go overseas after 4 years in the NBA and become an overseas superstar with multiple championships?
Ooh. Man.
Nothing.
I say that same role, man, in the NBA.
We're adding more years. I can dig it.
Got to get that pension, man. Got to get that pension.
Yeah. I appreciate you for that, Jumaine. That is the the segment of Overpaid or Underrated.
So normally this is the last question we ask, but it is NBA trade deadline. So we're going to add a little extra thing right now. Before we get into some of the deals going on right now, we wanted to kind of get a player's perspective. What is trade deadline day like for a player?
Ooh, man. Man, it could be, I know for me, man, every trade that I thought I was in. So, I was just one of those guys that my money always matched every deal. So for me, once that trade line comes through, now you can relax and knowing that you've been there and kind of, find your, not worried about in the back of your mind that, you may be somewhere else. So, once that trade deadline hits, man, it just get more comfortable knowing that you're going to be there and a part of what's going on. And now you can kind of, focus in on the day-to-days and, because at the end of the day, I think everybody is susceptible to a trade. So, able to not think about that, man, really can have you more focusing on what the plan is for the future, or the goal, which is to win the championship. So it really brings a lot of comfortability once that comes in.
Okay. And throughout this podcast I've been recording, I've had my phone below me with all the shams and Woj tweet notifications. There's been a bunch of trades that have gone through since we started recording. Biggest one we got to talk about started right before we recorded. We broke that to you earlier. Got to hear your thoughts on the Ben Simmons, James Harden trade. Obviously, there's a bigger package around that, but you as a Sixers guy, we got to hear it. Because now you can freely talk about Ben Simmons if there's anything you've been hiding.
Man, I just think that, I think it makes both teams better, to be honest. Now you got two complete scorers over there and you got a defender on somebody who don't want to basketball. So that, I think that's perfectly fit, and he guards on the perimeter, which, James Harden not about to guard anybody. So I think that brings the Sixers what they need in a player. It's going to be interesting to see how that works, but I think that with James Harden, which I think he understands what the goal is, and that's to win the championship. So I think he'll be able to fit in and be able to, because Joel's doing his thing right now. He'll be foolish not to go in and try to make sure that Joel is the man and you just second fiddle. If he's able to go in and do that with that mentality, I think the Sixers going to be good.
Okay. Other trades that went down were, this is the most recent one. Kristaps Porzingis went to the Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie.
Wow.
I'm a little
and I don't think that helped. I don't think that helped or hurt either.
Yeah, I was a little
Neither one of them
by
were
that one.
dependent for anything.
Yeah. Celtics got Derek White for Josh Richardson and Romeo Langford. And then there were a couple other small ones about picks, but those are kind of the main ones.
I think the Celtics should have been doing more moves than that. But
I've been saying that for 3 years.
I really think that they break up that team and try to do something different with it, because I don't think what they have right now work, and they really need to make more changes to that team. And I hate to see the Celtics that way, because you being a Celtic fan, I know how you feeling about that. When you with the organization, man, you really want to see them on the up and up. And you thought they was that way. And then now, things haven't been so good as of late. So to get them back where they are, they definitely need some bigger moves than they did.
So to wrap it all up, you've had a long journey, both NBA, on and off the court, overseas, everything totaled. What would you say the biggest lesson you learned was throughout your entire journey?
Oh, man. It's a lot of them. Shit, it's hard to put a finger on it, but man, keep your circle small. Always be open. Be open to meet new people. You know what I mean? Like, when you're in that NBA, like, you know what I mean? Like you're so protected in so much things because, you do have those wolves that's around that's trying to get in and want to be those vampires that suck some blood out of it. But, I've learned, on a lot of opportunities because I was so, not other people. I think that once you get that positive group of people and you feel big on energy, be open to have conversations and always want to be, open to listen. You know what I mean? Like I was more that person to do most of the talking, and I found out throughout my career, man, if I've done more listening, now that I've learned that, a lot of things that I already, which I plan on doing a lot of other things, but most of that of what people are saying, and you kind of I'm like, somebody wants to come out of the woodworks and attack and wanting different things, but everybody, it's unfortunate that a lot of people that mean you good get sheltered out to those guys that room. So biggest thing that I can say that I learned throughout my career is just to be able to be holistically every individual and then make that judgment on if you even want to be involved in them or not.
Awesome. That's going to do it for episode 6 of the Underdogs podcast. Thank you guys for listening, watching, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you're on. Thank you. We appreciate it. As always, my name is Jordan Daly. We had Craig Smith, Mike Taylor, special guest Jumaine Jones. Thanks again for hopping on with us. We appreciate you being open and honest with us. We love hearing these stories. That's why you're my favorite guest I've ever had.
Hey, you definitely embody the underdog, man. So appreciate you for your time. Appreciate you, you know what I'm saying, for being open and transparent about the mental health thing, bro. That's key.
Yeah,
absolutely. I appreciate y'all, man.
Appreciate it. Enjoy your birthday, bro.
Yes, sir.
Happy birthday, Jumaine.
Happy birthday, bro. Blessings.
All right.
All right. Peace.